this is the Great Bridge Challenge, what I consider the toughest challenge in this game, harder than any boss fight, pretty much anything. This is what I consider the toughest thing to do. The reward for this challenge is just a Lives of 1,000 Gods. That's why I always skip this challenge. It seems like more headache than it's worth. It's definitely, and it's going to be a lot of headaches, because mainly because of this first part. I recommend using the low health UF and Inferno Nimpo. Inferno Nimpo 2 of the crabs or more if you're lucky, and then use the essence for UTs. The problem, of course, is all these damn lasers they keep shooting around. I recommend using both your Talisman of Rebirths here if you need to. I recommend using all your Nimpo refilling items. Basically, use everything, not everything you have. You might want to save your two large spiritual elixirs and all of the small ones. But other than that, use everything for this first part. The fight gets a lot easier once these guys are gone. Another thing I want to point out is there's going to be 4 of these guys, and you should also wear the Armlet of Fortune, so that if by chance they do drop some red essence, you'll get to refill 2 of your slots. And once you get to, I think, like 38, I think, then the ogres will start spawning, and make sure you get rid of the black crabs. You do not want any one of these black crabs around you. And here I'm just, when I'm run out of Inferno Nimpo and I feel like I can just get away with it, I'm just going to go and start attack spamming. I think that worked somewhat well. I'm still glad I used Inferno Nimpo though, because I don't think I can survive 40 of these black crabs by just using wall attacks. And on a whole, Ninja Gaiden Black is not a cheap game, but I would argue that these black crabs are cheap. They can use those projectile attacks from off screen. I mean, how are you supposed to predict that happening? I mean, the Berserkers are pretty fair, the ogres are pretty fair, most of the enemies are nice. It's just these idiots. And then when they're using all 3 of them are using their lasers, or 2 of them, what are you supposed to do about that? And this guy was supposed to die, how come you didn't die? I shot an Inferno right into his face. If that happens, just go in for a forward Y. If you impact off their head, it stuns them. Of course, it only stuns one of them. You can still get burned by those lasers. If you feel like you can't dodge the lasers, at least block them. It'll block a significant amount of damage. You'll still take damage, but it's better than nothing, I guess. Now here I'm trying to use that for a UT, but as you can see, it's just not working out well. UTs are ideal, but as you know, it's tough to get them off when there's this idiot back there who keeps spamming his lasers. Okay, and that should have killed him. I don't know why it didn't. But luckily I have a ton of Nimpo using items. Now, I should have used all those Great Devil Elixirs, but I'm gonna wall spam here. This is actually my first time beating the challenge. I've never beaten it before, mainly because I've only really tried it once before I died at the Berserkers. The only reason I'm doing it now is just because I'm doing these commentary videos and I feel sort of obligated to do this challenge, and at least give some tips to how to beat it. Now, as you can see, wall attacks are doing pretty well, but don't do this at all. This is a mistake. All of this is a mistake. I should have used my Great Devil Elixirs, and I should have used more Inferno Nimpo. Now, you're not going to need to use Nimpo in any of the two remaining fights, the Ogres or the Berserkers. but you will need them on the crabs. I recommend them on the crabs. Once you kill 38 of them, the ogres start spawning, as you can see. And I'm just going to equip the Dark Dragon Blade and the Armlet of the Sun. Now, the proper time to do this chapter is, I believe, chapter 12 or maybe chapter 13. I'm doing it now in chapter 15 with the Dark Dragon Blade. If you don't have the Dark Dragon Blade, you can use the same method with the Dabby, or you can use Ripping Thunder with the Flails and Armlet of Potency. Again, once you kill 38 of the crabs, the ogres start spawning, but remember there's 2 crabs still around, so make sure you ignore the ogres and get rid of the crabs. For the ogres, I'm just going to pretty much stop commentating after a while. I think footage speaks for itself how to take them on. Basically just dodge their attacks. All of their attacks can just be rolled away from. And keep the camera focused on one ogre at a time so that 2 of them don't focus on you. I like to just stay by one wall, and when he starts attacking, you can see that instead of rolling forward into him, I'm rolling towards the wall. That's because I want the ogre to come towards me, and so that we both are together in this small area. That will minimize the chance that I'll have to manipulate the camera and from other ogres. Now, as soon as you see another ogre, make sure you turn your camera away. You need only one ogre towards you. The Dark Dragon Blade makes quick work of these guys. This part is usually the easy part. Now, the tough part about this challenge is not really the enemies, well, with the exception of the black crabs. The enemies are not tough, it's just that this is a long challenge. 180 enemies, and what makes it harder is there's no trick. Remember the trick I used on the Archive challenge? Remember the trick I used on the Stadium challenge? There's nothing like that here. And remember the other challenges like the Wasp challenge or the Imp challenge, where basically I just spam ball attacks with the UF. These all 3 enemies are tougher than that. And, well, one thing I want to say about the ogres before I stop commentating is that when they change into their berserk form, make sure you squeeze in a hit. I don't know how to avoid their masks from being broken, but when it does break, make sure you squeeze in a hit. And I'll probably start commentating again once the berserkers start showing up, but for the rest of the ogres, I'm just going to stop talking so you can see what I'm doing.